So marriage isn't just a love contract, it's also a legal contract. And when you get divorced, you are ending that legal relationship. So when you enter a marriage and a legal relationship, you agree to certain things. Things like you are going to be financially responsible to an extent for the other person. You also are opening up options for yourself, like owning property as tenants by the entirety, or having each other on your retirement plans if it's a specific type of retirement plan. These are important legal constructs that when you say I do, you are saying yes to that contract. So what is divorce? It's ending the contract. It's taking the business parts of your marriage and winding them down, taking care of the debts, taking care of the assets, and dividing out how things are when you walk away. For the most part these days, in Maryland and DC, grounds are more of the irreconcilable differences. We're not getting along anymore. Now, we used to have a lot of fault grounds, especially in Maryland, and fault can come into certain things. Fault can come into things like calculations for alimony or calculations for property division, but if you don't want to stay married to this person in either Maryland or DC, you don't have to. Are Maryland and DC no-fault divorce states? Well, kind of yes, kind of no. And what I mean by that is this. You don't need a reason, you don't need a fault reason to get a divorce in either jurisdiction. If you're not getting along anymore and you just don't want to be married to this person, you don't have to, and nobody can stop you from getting a divorce. You can have your freedom. But fault still can come into certain calculations. For example, if you had a paramour and you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars taking that paramour to Europe and buying a condo for them or doing other things, well, that's dissipation of marital assets, and that fault can come into a division of assets. Additionally, for alimony, the reason for the breakdown of the marriage can be a factor, especially in Maryland. And so if there is a fault reason, if there is a reason why the marriage broke down and it is your fault, that may play into things. In other jurisdictions, it doesn't, but here it can. So is Maryland and DC fault jurisdictions? No fault? Kind of yes, kind of no. You don't have to stay married to the person, but your actions still matter. Here's a lawyer answer for you. How long does a divorce take in Maryland or the District of Columbia? It depends. I know, lawyer answer, but it truly does depend. The shortest divorce that I have ever done was 6 weeks. The parties had been married a very short period of time and they had everything agreed to. They didn't own any property together. And so they had their agreement. They walked in, they filed for an uncontested divorce, they got their hearing, and they were done in and out in 6 weeks. My longest has dragged on for 4 years. So what goes into how long it takes? The number one thing is the parties. If the two parties are not working together to figure out how to unwind their marriage, and yes, that can be really, really hard when you're getting a divorce, but if you're not working together to figure out how to unwind things, it's going to take longer. It also depends on what county you're in. The reality is that some counties have more judges than others and have more people that live in that county than others. And so what might be filed on the same day in Frederick County versus the same day in Carroll County, the divorces might take longer or shorter, depending on where you are. Other factors that go in is whether or not people are cooperating and following the rules. If there are discovery disputes, this might push things out. That means when you're not answering all the questions or providing all the documents that you need. Or if multiple continuances are filed. Or sometimes things happen that are completely out of the party's hands. We had a case where a judge died mid-trial. That sure as heck pushed things out. So how long does a divorce take? I just gave you a long answer from 6 weeks to 4 years. And Christy, what the heck is the answer? The answer, besides it depends, on average, about a year. Unlike getting married, where you need 2 yeses, getting a divorce only needs 1 yes. If you want a divorce, you absolutely can get a divorce, no matter how much the other party doesn't like that. And that is a good thing. I have seen, unfortunately, domestic violence situations where the person who is the perpetrator wants to hold on to their victim a whole lot longer, and they'll kick and scream and try to not get a divorce. And you want to make sure that the person who's suffering has the opportunity to walk away. Even outside of domestic violence cases, if you don't want to stay married to someone, you have one life to live and you don't have to. Not in either jurisdiction.